Hey guys, welcome to another math video. For this one, I'll be going over converse, inverse, and contrapositive statements. Okay, so let's dive in here. Get started. Okay, so as I mentioned, that's what this video is about. These are the three things we'll be going over. Okay, so let's get started with converse statements. Or I guess statements in general first. So this is the basic thing we'll be working with. If you haven't seen this symbol before, you should check out my logic and truth tables videos to get reacquainted with the symbols. Okay, but this symbol here, the arrow pointing to the right, is your if-then symbol. So if P then Q. Okay, so taking a look at a converse statement. So a converse, when we're talking about logic, a converse statement is something else. Don't think the shoes, especially if you're in a logic class. Okay, so a converse statement just switches the statements around. So P and Q switch places. So a converse statement looks like this. If Q, then P. Okay, now the next one is the inverse statement. So the inverse statement looks like this. So the little squiggly line is called a tilde, and in logic, we use the tilde to mean complement, or opposite of, or not. Okay, so instead of reading complement of something else, we usually just say if not. In this case, we have a P there, so if not P, then not Q. Just shorter to read that way. Okay, and then we have our third one here, contrapositive. So the contrapositive is like the inverse, except it switches the P and Q. Okay, so if not Q, then not P. Okay, and you're probably wondering, well, where would I ever see this? Well, if you've ever been in the courtroom, especially for like a criminal case, lawyers will use these all the time. They'll say a statement like this, then they'll say it like this, then they'll say it like this, and they'll say it like this. And the person that's being asked will be like, well, that's a lot of questions you're asking, but really they're asking the same question 4 times. And it's all trickery of the words. So let's take a look at an example so you can get kind of used to how these statements look. Okay, so we're going to find the converse, inverse, and contrapositive of this statement here. If the road is wet, then the sky is falling. Now, I use this as an example. It doesn't have to be a true statement. It just has to be a statement we can use so that you're comfortable with finding all of these different statements here: converse, inverse, and contrapositive. Okay, so remember the converse was a switching the P and Q statements. So the P statement is the road is wet, and the Q statement is the sky is falling. So the converse will just be switching those statements around. So it should look like this. If the sky is falling, then the road is wet. Simple enough, right? Okay, now the next statement is the inverse. So the inverse was the complement, or the negation. Okay, so we're not going to change the order of this, we're just going to negate it. We're going to do the opposite. So it would be, if the road is not wet, then the sky is not falling. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. Now, the next and the last one is the contrapositive statement. So the contrapositive statement takes the inverse and switches the P and Q statements. Okay, so it should look something like this. If the sky is not falling, then the road is not wet. So you see what we did here. We used the inverse statement and we switched these two around. Okay, so now this is just to help you get familiar with the converse, inverse, and contrapositive statements. Not necessarily saying that this is a true statement. If the road is wet, then the sky is falling. You can use this with any statements. Okay, the point is to get practice at this, so that you can identify when they're being used if you ever need to identify them. All right. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you need to take a look at the example again, just go ahead and go back, rewind. Any questions, leave them down in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would really appreciate it if you do. And that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.